So, I'm really excited because this is the last assignment I have to do, but I think I saved the best for last because I feel like this assignment was maybe a little more important than some of my other ones because I had to really think about it and I had to really think about some things that we learned and what I thought was important, and we learned a lot and we covered a lot in this class, and I'm really thankful for that. So, one word that I would choose to describe this class is empowering. Empowering because we gain tools to learn, tools that will help us in the future. But it was also just like uplifting and empowering to come to class and the different things we learned. You know, a lot of our classes are this is the way it should be, but in this class, we got to think and we got to talk about stuff that we don't talk about in our normal classes. And we were also in a room. I'm an AEC major, and so most of my classes I'm with just AEC kids, and most of them think the same way I do. They find the same things important that I do. There's not a lot of diversity in them, and I like that because sometimes you get in these really diverse classes and you just feel like nobody understands you and nobody can relate to you in any way. But in this class, even though everybody thought different and there was a lot of people from a lot of different majors, you could say something and you would still be accepted and you would still be understood. And I might not have spoke up a lot in the class, but I was listening. I was listening when somebody said something and the kid behind them spoke up and gave a whole different perspective and a whole different thought. And I really took that to heart because I never once the whole semester saw anybody get upset or disturbed with something somebody was saying. They just kind of thought about it because it was like a positive space. And so I found that empowering that we could be in a classroom with such different people from different walks of life and still be okay with each other and still understand each other. So I think that's why I choose the word empowering, because I also feel that you were there to empower us to do the best that we could and to do the best we could in the future. You gave us tools. We looked at these issues of how to deal with a certain situation, a certain ethical situation, and you gave us tools to look at that in a different way, to not just jump the gun and think of our own conclusion and the way we would see it, to look at it from somebody else's perspective. That's so important to be able to see all sides of something, because you're never going to make it in the real world if you can't see all sides of something and be able to understand where somebody else is coming from. And even if you don't agree with them, you have to understand them. And I feel like that's part of being empowered. We're now empowered at least a little bit more to understand each other and relate to each other. And I feel that that's so important, because if you can't understand somebody, you're never going to be able to help them. And maybe if you can understand somebody, you'll be able to explain to them where you're coming from, and maybe they'll be able to understand you. I also thought this class was empowering because we got to do things like hear from the Holocaust Museum. I remember at the beginning of the semester, I was so excited about that because I'm a big history buff, and being able to learn about history in a different way, in a way that we weren't just learning about facts, we were learning about people and the way they thought. And I don't know that I've necessarily looked at the Holocaust in that way before. Oh, I haven't looked at the Holocaust in that way before. So it was really interesting, and it's just so cool that the people from the National Holocaust Museum came to our class, and thought that we were important enough to do that for it. And I found that empowering. And so that's why I keep going back to that word, because I feel like that word just sums up the way I felt about the class. I feel like I learned a lot. I felt like I could have said anything and I would have been accepted. And so that's empowering to be with groups with students and feel that way, and it's empowering to have a teacher who feels that way about everybody in the classroom, and it shows, that. So I feel like, sum it up, this class was empowering and it was exciting and it really made me think.